Right. So do we talk about Mike Tyson and his training footage against Jake Paul? Or do we talk about Paddy Pimblett saying that he's going to call out Renato Moicano? What do you think?
I think Iron Mike. Anytime Iron Mike is the possible topic of conversation, I want to talk about Iron Mike.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? We've been talking about Jake Paul a lot recently, so I don't want to sit here and talk crap. We made our feelings clear on that. I think it's insane. In fact, even Dana White this morning, he posted a picture on his Instagram story. You know, Jake Paul's next opponent, and it was Clint Eastwood after Mike Tyson, which I get. You know, Clint Eastwood's 75 or 78 or 80 even. God knows how old he is. But Mike Tyson's been training, and he does look good, right? And I do believe, listen, even though he's old, and even though a doctor just came out, I did a video on this on my YouTube channel. A doctor just came out and said Mike Tyson's at danger, of a subdural hematoma, where the blood vessels in the brain will rip, something like that. I'm not a doctor. Of course, anytime a boxer steps foot in the ring, it's always dangerous. For a fighter, it's always dangerous. UFC, MMA, boxing, whatever. But at 58, those chances are increased. Also says with an alcohol problem, that can make that the danger heightened. But again, there's always danger there. And a lot of fighters like to drink as well. It's the 58 years old stuff. But that said, take a look at this footage here. He's looking good.
It was okay.
All right.
But you don't know.
All right. Listen, I'll tell you this. Jake Paul's never fought anybody like that. He hasn't fought anybody with that kind of punch power. He hasn't fought anybody with that kind of aggression or that movement. The signature Mike Tyson movement, the slipping, the head movement, the footwork, the getting on the inside and all the rest of it. Power is the last thing to go. So I do still believe that even though he's 58, I still believe he's got a potential to maybe knock Jake Paul out. He does. He does.
I think he got 3 rounds in him. I think that's more than enough.
Because I tell you what, I could get in shape now at 45 to do 10 rounds of boxing, 12 rounds of boxing, or 5 rounds of MMA. I could, right? How successful I would be at the highest level, I don't know. But I know I could get in shape to do it. Be a pain in the ass, but I could do it, right? Can you do that at 58? I just don't know. I really don't know. But he's a special kind of human being. But the thing is, that doesn't give Jake Paul props for doing that. He's still 58. He's still not the Mike Tyson that he was, which is what he's trying to sell to the younger people. I'm stepping in there with Mike Tyson, you know?
Except for the considerable amount of money to gain, this is a lose-lose situation for Jake Paul.
Without question. I mean, what is he going to do? What is he actually going to go out there and try and knock him out cold?
Well,
you're going to you're going to try and knock out Mike Tyson, a man that's almost 60. That's just a dick move. That's a dick move, right? Or are you going to get knocked out by a man that's almost 60?
I don't know, man.
That's not a good look.
You look at those old videos of Customato, like at the end of his life, and that dude could definitely throw hands. So, I mean, I don't know how old he was, but I'm sure he was pushing 60. Probably much older than that.
Speaking of Customato, Mike Davis, who we were talking about recently, Mike Davis started training with Customato when he was 14 years old.
No way.
You can see that. You can see that in his style and his ability. So anyway, whatever. We don't want to bang on about Jake Paul. I do like to talk about Mike Tyson though, but still, it remains to be seen what happens in that.
And if you're new, you're not hardcore, when there's a UFC, when Nate Diaz fought Jorge Masvidal in the UFC, they got less than 10% of that gate. They got none of the gate. Forget about the gate. But they probably got 10% of what if that, when they fought each other in MMA for 5 rounds. So they're getting the lion's share. You should celebrate this. Even if, oh man, I'd rather them fight in MMA. I get it. Celebrate this. We want this. This is a byproduct of them not being set. They can't ride off into the sunset. It is what it is. That's the nature of the beast. This is the butterfly effect. So whenever I see this stuff, Whether I like the matchup, and I like this matchup, I think it's a fantastic fight. Take my money. Nate Diaz, boxing, take my money. Jorge Masvidal, take my money. But those complain about this, you can't do both. Can't do both. That's like having an electric car, then thinking you're saving the environment, and then also having an iPhone. It's insane. They contradict each other. It makes no freaking sense. They contradict each other. It makes no sense. So whether you love the fight or not, you should support it. Instead of hating on it, doing all this stuff, talking trash on it, talking trash on social media, because these guys are they're going to get the bag. These guys are going to make money. Francis Ngannou. This is my point last week. Francis Ngannou. No matter what happens, of course, social media is being mean to him with the Joshua fight. He's won, guys. He's won. Francis, top 2 heavyweights in the world at the time, had to borrow money from another fighter to make ends meet. That's what they're dealing with. So him getting the Fury fight, won. Support it. Him getting Anthony Joshua, support it. I don't care if he gets knocked, if he's in there for a whole 10 seconds, he gets knocked out at Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, he's won. Because remember, what he did in the UFC, as much as you guys love him, and very rarely do we see fighter pay complain about now in the media. That stuff is good. You have some of the old heads, Helwani to talk about it, Luke Thomas to talk about it. Some of the older heads who've been around the game for a while, they know how the circus goes. But the new media wave, the Nelk boys, they assume everyone's set. They don't know. Ignorance is bliss.
All right, Daniel, this one I feel is really going to be a bit trying for you. Now, this is good, bad, or absolutely sucks. I'm talking about Jake Paul, one of the top stars in boxing when it comes to box office draw, taking on the most feared combat athlete of all time, Iron Mike Tyson.
You know, Chael, it absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks because while I love Iron Mike, while I want Mike to make as much money as he possibly can, Chael, that video right there is about 3 to 4 years old, right? Mike is a different person now. I saw Mike walk into the UFC last year with a walking stick. I mean, I don't know how they pull this off. Now, will they let Mike just hit him? If they let Mike go at this dude and Mike just tries to get him out of there in a few minutes, maybe it works, but I don't know that they risk it with Mike trying to go at Jake Paul in that way. I think it absolutely sucks. I think Mike Tyson's fighting days are over. I mean, he will be 58 years old by the time he steps in the ring with Jake Paul. Chael, to me, it absolutely sucks.
All right, Daniel, I thought I was the great Kreskin on this. I thought I'm the Perry Mason that's going to crack the code. And it didn't matter if it was ESPN.com or if it was TMZ.com. I went to 5 different places that announced this, and none of them used the word box, and none of them used the word fight. That includes our.com. We said Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. TMZ said Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. A third one said Jake Paul signs for Mike Tyson. I'm only telling you, I thought I've solved this. They're getting ready to bring the great swerve. Them and maybe their partner Netflix, but something else is coming out. They've gotten our attention. So to test this theory, I went to Jake Paul and I said, read about your fight. I will take on George Masvidal if it's co-main and no lower. He writes me back, I'm in, call you in the morning. So, oh my God, this really is going to happen. He ends up getting back to me in about 5 minutes. He says, hey, just talk to Masvidal. He's under contract with somebody else. That I know nothing about, but I'm just sharing with you what I thought was going to be a swerve. I now think they're going to do, and I hate it.